Happy Sunday, everyone. I am glad you could be here with me. We're going to have some fun today and we're going to do something that we've been told that we can't do. We're kind of rebels that way, aren't we? Okay, so what are we going to do? Let me make sure that I have everybody right where I need them. Okay. You know, one of these days we're just going to be right on top of things and have things exactly the way we need them when we get here together. This morning I am drinking a fresh cup of coffee with sugar-free almond syrup in it. Now, if you've been watching for me at farmers markets and coming to stock up on your TSL organic spices, ask me about Da Vinci sugar-free syrups, because that is something else that I'm taking to the markets now. Now, I know that Da Vinci is not organic, and I know it's not a lot of the things that TSL organic stands for, but it is a marvelous way to fight that sweet tooth that plagues so many of us. So, good morning, Del. If you are someone that battles a sweet tooth, you need your coffee in the morning, but you just don't have what it takes to drink it black with nothing to sweeten it up, that's okay, because Da Vinci syrup is an awesome way to get you that extra flavor. And there are so many flavors. There's plain, and there's coffee liqueur, and there's buttered rum, and Irish cream, and banana, and eggnog, and oh my goodness, the list just goes on and on. There's an amazing list of flavor choices. So watch for me. If you're in central Alberta, you'll be able to pick up your Da Vinci sugar-free syrups. I will not be carrying the Da Vinci cane sugar syrups, because I'm not going to do that to your health. So good morning, Mom. Okay, so what are we doing today? Today we are making rice pilaf. But rice isn't keto. We're going to do this anyway. Okay, so I have started doing lots more things with hemp hearts, and that is what we're using in place of rice today. So a lot of the rice recipes that we make, hemp hearts are an amazing choice. They have very little in them. Now, I buy mine at Costco. You see the Kirkland brand. And so these are organic hemp hearts, and in 3 tablespoons, so a quarter cup, 30 grams, you have 15 grams of fat. That's awesome. You only have 1 net gram of carbs. There's 2 grams of carbs. 1 of that is fiber. So we only have to count 1. And then there's 10 grams of protein. So this is an amazing choice to use for rice. We're getting mostly fat and protein and hardly anything else. Okay, so I'm going to start heating my pan, because having your pan heated is one of the most important things. Yeah, I think the sweet tooth is genetic. Okay, now, I had someone tell me that they bought an induction burner, and they said, my induction burner doesn't have medium and low and high like you talk about, so how do I know? Because mine just has numbers. I always talk about low, medium, and high, because that's the way most stoves are. Now, that being said, my induction burner has numbers from 1 to 10, so medium is 5. So that's where we are today, just to heat it up, and then I'm going to turn it down a little bit. While we're waiting for that to heat up, I am going to take 1 tablespoon of TSL Organics parsley flakes, and I'm going to add it to my chicken stock. Now that is 1 cup of organic chicken stock. Now, here's the thing about using something organic that you've purchased in a store. You don't necessarily know what the salt content is. So when you're making something like this that you're going to salt, you want to make sure that you taste all the way through. Make sure you don't make it too salty or not salty enough. Okay, now I put the parsley in here just to let it start rehydrating before we put it in the pan. So we're going to set that aside. Now, we need we need green onions, and we need celery. Rice pilaf can be made in so many different ways. And you can use so many different things. You can make a mushroom rice pilaf. You can make all kinds of vegetables. So today, we're going to use 45 grams of green onions, and we're going to saute them in the pan along with 45 grams of celery. And if it isn't exactly 45 grams, that's okay. Now, one of the nice things about using green onions is they don't have as many carbs as white onions do, and you can cut them as fine or as coarse as you like. And then before you put them in the pan, you want to bruise them a little bit. And you want to save a few of the onion greens to sprinkle on top afterwards. It gives it a nice burst of fresh flavor. Now, once we get into spring and summer and I have fresh parsley growing in my yard, then I will be doing that on top as well. But as long as we're in the dead of winter, and even though it is the 6th of February where I live, and at this point of the year we usually expect to have really cold, nasty weather, but today it is plus 5 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure what that is Fahrenheit, probably about 38 degrees. Okay, so we have our 45 grams of green onions. And before I put the whites in here, I'm just going to bruise these a little bit. And this is, okay, now we're going to take a little bit of this and set it aside just to sprinkle on top. There we go. And just give it a bit of a pound with your knife, and once you've already cut it up, they're going to start falling all over the place. But I can pick them up, so we got this. Okay, so green onions. Now I'm going to turn this pan down to about a 3. So that's medium-low. And I'm going to add about 30 grams of butter. Now this, you'll see the smoke and steam coming off of this. As this butter is going in the pan, it's browning, and that's going to give it a beautiful nutty flavor. And that's exactly what we want. But don't let it turn black. You've got to get those onions in there and get that heat turned down. I'm going to turn it down one more. And just get those in there. And the butter is cooling that pan off, and the onions are cooling the pan off. And now we're going to get this celery chopped up. Now I've got 45 grams of celery here as well. And this can be chopped as fine or not, as you like. Okay. And we just want these, get that out of the way. I don't think we need to chop up the spoon handle. I should have had this all chopped up to go in at the same time, but it's all good. Now you'll notice that I am using the celery leaves. Don't ever throw them out, and I've seen people do that a lot. And if you're making a soup or a stew or a rice pilaf, you don't want to throw it out. Let's get this in the pan. Cool this off a little bit more. Look at all that beautifulness going on there. Oh, and you can smell the onions cooking. Okay. Now, cut this up as fine as you want it, and then let's get that in the pan. Now, if you were doing this with rice, and this is one of the nice things about doing it with hemp hearts. If you were doing this with rice, it would take about half an hour to cook. Doing it with hemp hearts, it takes like 0 time to cook. And we're just going to wilt these down a little bit. Now, the other thing about using the celery leaves is the celery leaves are going to cook down quickly as well. And I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, TSL Organics, of course, and 1/8 teaspoon, give or take, of cayenne, maybe not quite an eighth, because I know Dell's going to be eating this with me, so I'll be a little bit stingy with the cayenne. Make sure you pay attention to who you're cooking for. You want everybody at your table to enjoy this. Now, get these last couple of pieces of green onion in there. I'm adding 1 cup or 140 grams of hemp hearts. And we're just going to let these saute in the pan a little bit. Now, hemp hearts really do not need to be cooked. They are just fine to eat raw, where with rice, you really wouldn't eat rice raw. But hemp hearts are just fine. Now that we've got everything in there, oops, I'm going to turn this up just a wee bit and start browning these hemp hearts. And the hemp hearts give it this beautiful nutty flavor. Now, 2 of the things that we really need when we're eating something, our brain needs something that tastes familiar but also feels familiar in our mouth. So rice has a specific mouthfeel. It's different than mashed potatoes. It's different than pasta. It's different than all of those garbage things that we used to eat. And so if you want to make rice pilaf or whatever rice dish you're making, you want to make sure that what you're using is going to have a similar mouthfeel. And then when you've chosen a recipe, if it's a recipe that you know and love and you've used for a very long time, you want to make sure that it has the same scent. So the taste is important, the mouthfeel is important, but that scent, your nose is the very first thing that tells you whether or not you should eat it. And if you're expecting this flavor and you end up with this flavor, your mouth is not going to be happy and you're not going to be as satisfied as you would if everything was done the way I just explained. Okay, so we've got this in here heated up. Now I'm going to turn this up to medium. So this is at 5. And now I'm going to add our 1 cup, 250 milliliters of chicken stock. You hear that? I bet you do. And we are just going to simmer this down until that chicken stock is all gone. So now that it's in the pan, we can turn it up even further. We can turn it up to 8 or 9. You don't want it on 10 because you don't want things burning on the bottom, and you want to make sure that you stir it a little bit. If you want to use less chicken stock so that it's ready sooner, that's fine. The more chicken stock you have in there, the more flavor you're going to have. Now, I'm just going to put about half a teaspoon of salt in here. And then we're going to give it a try and see, once that salt has had a chance to dissolve. Everything in here is ready to eat right now. All we're doing at the moment is just cooking down this chicken stock to give it that beautiful flavor. Yep, that is almost enough salt. I'm just going to add a wee bit more. Now be careful when you're tasting it for salt at this stage, because remember, this chicken stock is going to boil down and then the salt flavor is going to be more intense because it's not going to be salting as much stuff. So you want to be careful of that, and you can see that this is boiling away, and every drop that we boil away is intensifying that beautiful chicken flavor in there. Now, a couple more pieces of onion. I'm not wasting that. This is going to be served tonight with steak, but you could serve it with anything. Now, I want you guys to mark Wednesday on your calendar, because Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. I'm going to be doing a duck breast, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. And if you've never had duck before, you're not going to want to miss this, because it's going to make you want to run out and buy some duck. If you have had it before, join us and find out how I cook it, because it's not the way we usually do things. And if you've had duck and you didn't like it, join me anyway, because you don't have to use duck. You can use chicken or turkey, whatever you like. It's just going to be a very foul meal. How about that? Okay, now you can see that this is boiling down beautifully. I'm going to turn this up one more notch, just for the sake of saving some time. Now, on Friday, my live didn't turn out very well, and I have to blame my production crew. They were just slack. And the problem with blaming my production crew on Friday is I was the production crew. So I want to share with you what I shared on Friday. Now, usually I'm in the kitchen when we get together. On Friday, I was not in the kitchen. I was in Edmonton. And, you know, it was pointed out to me, and I'm not really sure why this needed to be pointed out. I was going to cancel on Friday, and I was talking to Dell, and he said, "Why are you canceling?" He said, "Just do a live from wherever you are and talk about something that isn't food, because not everything in life, when you're walking a keto journey, not everything is about food." And that is absolutely true. And especially now, when so many people are struggling with mental health. If you have an opportunity, and this is what I said on Friday, if you have an opportunity to help a friend, if you have a friend reach out and ask you for any kind of assistance, please don't turn your back on that. Don't let fear have you turn away from an opportunity to have love grow in your heart and to help them have some grow in theirs. People need hugs. People need friends. People need love. It's how we grow and how we thrive, and it doesn't matter what kind of food you have. None of that matters if you don't have your mental health, if you don't feel loved and appreciated. And so it is so important to take the time to go and help a friend. So go and help them fold a load of laundry, do their dishes, shovel their walk, have a cup of tea with them, give them a hug, and make them know that they are appreciated and they're an important part of your world. And so I was so honored when I had a dear friend reach out to me and say, "Could you help me with this?" And so I did, and it ended up being an amazing opportunity for us to do a road trip together. So it was great. We had a 1-hour drive from where we lived to where we were going, and an hour drive back, and everything was wonderful. And I'm grateful for that opportunity to be able to help. But in helping her, I also helped myself, because she got a hug, but so did I. And she got to go on a road trip with a friend, but so did I. So it's never one-sided when you're letting someone know that you love them. It's an important part of our keto journey, because our mental health is more important than anything else. And if you look at statistics over the last 2 years of the number of people that have been struggling with mental health, it's really sad. That just shows you how important it is. We are such social creatures, so let's be social. And I never, almost never, say anything political here, but I'm going to say it today. Thank you to all the truckers that are out there fighting for our freedom. I appreciate you more than you know, and I am just so sorry that I'm not still driving, because I would have loved to have joined you in Ottawa. So keep fighting the good fight, and hopefully this video doesn't get kicked off for me saying that. But it is what it is, so that's how I feel. Okay, now you can see that we have cooked down our rice pilaf. Now we are going to put that in a bowl. Now this is going to be enough rice pilaf for 4 servings. Okay. Look look at that. It is beautiful, and it kind of looks like rice, and it smells amazing, and it's so easy to do. And if you want it to be a little faster than what we did, you can do it with less chicken stock. I just like the intensity of that flavor, so that's what I'm doing. Okay, now, look at that. It is beautiful. Now I am going to grab a wee little bowl, put some of this in here, because I have to do a taste test. You can't cook it and not do a taste test. Just a few green onions on top. Look at that. Beautiful. And a fork. Now this, one of the things that I love about this is you can make it ahead and put it away and warm it up. And so this is going to be part of our steak supper tonight. And it will be served with a little bit of coleslaw and a piece of steak and the rice pilaf. And it's going to be a beautiful meal, and I'm excited for it. Okay, taste test. It is not exactly the same as rice, and it isn't exactly the same as rice because it's not rice, but it is so close. It's going to make your mouth happy, and it is an amazing alternative. Let's try that one more time. It's an amazing alternative when you are doing keto and you want to keep it low carb. This is just beautiful and delicious. If you have fresh parsley, you can sprinkle some of that on top. If not, just green onions or some of the celery leaf. Chop that up fine and sprinkle that on top. That works as well. So I hope you joined me with a hot steaming cup of coffee, and I hope you're going to do something with the no rice pilaf for dinner tonight or lunch today. It's going to make your taste buds very happy, and I'm pretty sure it's going to make Dell's taste buds happy. He's not a real rice fan, but this is going to be a little bit different flavor than rice, and it has so much flavor, and it's just kind of explodes in your mouth. It's pretty awesome. And a hot cup of coffee is the best way to start off a Sunday, in my never to be humble opinion. Oh, and I want to show you something. This was a gift that I received. Now, for those of you who don't know, I am a little bit obsessed with these little gnomes. And I have a friend whose mom made this for me. So I now have a Valentine's Day gnome. And I was just so thrilled. And so, Rhoda, if you're watching, or maybe it will be Sherry that's watching, but thank you so much for this. You know, when someone knows that you are really excited about something, and that was just such a special gift. So thank you again, and I hope all of you are getting ready for Valentine's Day. Are you planning a Valentine's Day something? Spend the day with a loved one. It doesn't have to be a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a wife. It can be a dear friend. It can be a family member. It can be anybody who is going to help improve your mental health and whose mental health you can improve. So find someone that you love, or maybe a few people that you love that you want to spend that day with, and that would like to spend the day with you, and start planning a Valentine's Day something. Do it for yourself and do it for them, because we can never have too much love in this world. And you only have a few days left. We're a week away from Valentine's Day. So pitter patter, people, you need to get on this if you're going to have it ready by then. So watch for me at the markets. I have Valentine's Day cocoa gnomes if you're looking for those. And I'm looking forward to seeing you here Wednesday morning. We're doing duck. You have to love that. Well, at least I do. Okay, have an amazing Sunday. Please do your very best to live your best version of this shining life. that's what I'm going to do. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Mountain.